from September 23rd to 29th in New York, 2025, there's an ongoing United Nations Assembly. The U.S. welcomed dignitaries from all over the world. All the member states were present. This year, a general team became representation of who gets a seat at the table, whose voice carries a veto, and who pays costs when the international system fails. African leaders had a huge impact this year, from the president of South Africa condemning what is going on in the country we all cannot say in case you get banned, to the president of Kenya making a very powerful speech about the representation of Africa in this union and saying, you can forget a continent, one of the biggest continents of planet Earth, and make decisions about billions of people without including them. That is why the UN, in his words, seems to be useless. He's not the only person that made statements about the US being useless. We also have people like the president of the US who couldn't walk up an escalator, blame the UN for cutting out the power. His teleprompter didn't work and everything was blamed on the US. But as usual, his team were the ones to be blamed. He also brought up a very significant issue about the UN being useless because for some reason America seems to have a veto card that disrupts every grand gesture that the UN wants to end up. So right now, let us look at what the president of Kenya said about the UN. I feel like he made a very good point about Africa not being represented in the UN. And it's also a thing that now is the time, if they think of even giving us a permanent seat, now is the time they want to give us a permanent seat. I think it's way too late. They want to give us a permanent seat when we are rising. Each continent needs to be properly represented in the UN. It is a United Nations. If it's something just for the West, then they should say, oh, it's just for the West. And the fact that one country has a veto power, that nonsense should stop. It disproves all the legitimacy or the power of the United Nations. So let us watch what the president of Kenya had to say.
You cannot claim to be the United Nations while disregarding the voice of 54 nations. It is not possible. Africa is no longer willing to wait on the margins of global governance while decisions about peace, security, and development are made without our understanding, without our perspectives, and without our voice. Africa's exclusion is not only unacceptable, unfair, and grossly unjust, it also undermines the very credibility of the United Nations, this organization. Africa dominates most of the Security Council agenda, provides some of the largest contingents of UN peacekeeping forces, and bears the heaviest costs of instability. Yet we remain the only continent without a permanent seat at the main table, where decisions about our destiny are made.
Okay, from that you can see he made a valid point. Prior to all the terrorism and all the nasty businesses of people killing each other, Africa was a very peaceful continent. There's nothing about Africa going to war or things like that. Yeah, we had tribal wars, but not to that extent. But now, if all the talks on the UN has something to do with Africa, it's linked to Africa, and you see people go on and make decisions for Africans without involving Africa, then it doesn't hold value, it doesn't hold facts. Nothing can be acceptable. Because, first of all, you minimize the people's culture. You minimize the people's ethics. You minimize what the people know to be of value. It's always the same thing. Before someone gives grants to Africa, oh no, they should accept lesbianism and gayism. Why? Why do you want to impose your culture on people? These are all things that we Africans now have to look at the way forward. And just to say something else, we know about the G7s and the G20s and all the Gs that they had. When China and African countries and Russia was talking about, oh, you people should include us in the G7. Oh, the West were like, no, it's a gentleman's club. You guys are not gentlemen enough to get into it. Fast forward now, they went on and created BRICS. BRICS is trashing them in all the angles and all the platforms, and they still are unable to see the right on the wall. If tomorrow there's another variation of the UN that comes up created by the BRICS nation to govern themselves, to talk about their own issues, tell me, why would African countries not join that? Why would South countries not join that? Why would the Middle East countries not join that? Forget about the Gulf states. The Gulf states have all sold their birthrights to the Americans, but some people still have values. And some people still find integrity as part of their culture. So, if the UN continues to give veto power to one nation, if the UN continues to make decisions on other continents without including them, then it's a useless organization. In my opinion, it's even way more useless than the African Union, because I personally find the African Union to be a very useless organization. They are doing some good things now, which I would say, yes, they are doing it. But apart from that, they have been useless from day one. The United Nations in our continent tell the Americans that don't go into Libya. We would talk with Gaddafi. And the US said no. That's disgusting. And it's so disgusting also to the United States. So yeah, the United States is in bed with the UN. We know they sleep together and they do everything together. But if they want to be a united nation, then they have to truly respect each and every country's sovereignty. And in my opinion, each country should be a permanent member of the United Nations. There's nothing like temporary about United Nations. If not, then you don't make decisions on other people's country without involving them. And if you don't, UN, the BRICS will decide on something else. The BRICS nations will decide on something else that will govern them. And tomorrow you will be the one to cry. Oh, they're coming for the dollar. They're coming for this. As if your dollar is not collapsing. You guys are unable to climb stairs and unable to take pictures, and you're here making a whole lot of noise. African leaders have to be treated with respect. Whether we voted for them or they're the puppets that you people put, you will respect the puppets you put. If not, then please, we get out of it. As you can see, there are countries that are actually leaving some of this international organization. Like the Sahel states have left the International Court of Justice because truly it hasn't helped anybody. All African countries have to leave that organization, in my opinion, because that is where they go and they make nonsense treaties about put African presidents in prison, and forget that all their presidents have been terror organizers and causing terror all over the world. Give me one American president that has not caused terror in the Middle East or in Africa or somewhere, but they claim to be the moral superior country. So we will see where the UN from here. We will see if they're able to defend life. We will see if they're able to understand values that other countries are going forward. We'll see even if the UN has decided to be a multipolar organization. It's no more a thing about the West. The West is dead. People now are just picking scrambles from left, right, and center. The West they dug their grave. It's everything done with them. So we'll see what the UN has to say. And thank you for watching. If you like my channel, please subscribe. I'll be having views, but then I won't be having subscribers. Please, I really appreciate you if you subscribe to the channel. It helps me grow. It helps me in so many things. Thank you and have yourself a great day.